There you go.
The only other thing is the call center thing that we're gonna be doing starts on Monday. I have to get them into House Call Pro, and then the other thing that has to happen is I gotta get them a list of everything so they can start making calls. They've been calling everything except for HVCs.
Did anybody call Ning Tang?
Which one's the main thing?
Came in at 7:30 last night.
Yes.
Okay. Got it. Good morning, everyone. So, a couple things I want to start off with. I've got a couple HVAC guys here. We're instituting a new policy that we do not pump any systems down with using the compressor, period. Every time we pump a system down, we're evacuating into a canister, period. You gotta have a reclaimer, you gotta have a canister. Otherwise, we're not doing it. 2 reasons for that. The canister doesn't leak, the condenser can, okay? The other reason for that is you destroy the compressor. That actually does damage to a compressor when you pump it down, period. I know it's quicker, I know it's easier, we're not gonna do it, okay? And also, the other reason we're not gonna do it is when we pump a system down and then it becomes trash, that stuff gets vented. The trash guy is not gonna pump it down, he doesn't know how. He's gonna cut it and he's gonna vent the refrigerant to the atmosphere. So we gotta pump it down, that's our policy each and every time. You guys, everybody in the HVAC will be getting an addendum to their employee handbook that we're gonna have you sign, and we're gonna stick it in the handbook, and it's gonna be our policy period, okay? The other thing about that is when you pump a system down, okay, you have to operate the on-off valves, right? You have to open and close them. And you know what can happen when you open and close them? They can leak, right? So, customer didn't have a leak, but then you're done, and now the customer has a leak. See what I'm saying? And you just bought yourself a lot of labor with no way to get money back from the customer. Okay? So that's the other reason we're not going to use those valves. So really is no reason to use those valves, ever. Because we pumped the system down, right? It just doesn't need to be done now. Okay?
Except on a new one, but yeah.
I'm sorry?
Except when you're installing a new condenser, but yeah.
When you put in a new one, yeah, you have to open the valve, right? I get that. But that's the only time, and those are brand new. And if they leak out of the box, it's a warranty issue. And I've had that happen. You can turn them on, and there goes my refrigerant. I'm like, damn. Yeah. And then they give you a nice little valve you get to put in for free. Yeah, here's your warranty part. I'm like, wait a minute. Give me 10 pounds of refrigerant. Give me some money for my labor, et cetera, et cetera. So that's why. So I just wanted to explain that's why we're doing it. The next item I want to cover is basically the sales training. We are getting our tools this week, and I have not yet written a policy or I shouldn't say a policy, but basically a process for going to the water heater, but that's pretty much what we're gonna do, is write that. Hopefully I'll have it done this week. I'm supposedly taking some time off, but we'll see. And then I'm gonna be gone in a couple of weeks here. I'm gonna be gone in February. So you guys will be basically have to step into the field advisor position in the sales. So you guys will be having to do that. I'll be gone for a week. Tina will be here though. And that pretty much covers that. So notes. Okay. So one of the things that we talked about, and I just wanna reiterate, that we're gonna be making some changes. You noticed, Alex was a pretty no-nonsense guy, and he manages a company, he manages a very successful company. And he's got, you know, this new gig where he goes around the country doing what he did with us, right? And he basically told me in no uncertain terms that people with grooming issues would be gone in a heartbeat. He wouldn't tolerate it. So we're gonna be really enforcing our uniform code. That is clean uniforms, tucked in, you're not wearing a blouse, okay? You're wearing a belt. I don't care how uncomfortable or how much it shows off your gut, that's the way we're gonna roll. And we're all gonna look the same here, you know? Even the jackets, they have to be professional looking, uniform-ish looking. You know, they can't be anything other than that. If they take away from your appearance, you can't have it. I'll be getting hats that will say Kalka Plumbing, Heating and Air. And so that if you wanna wear hats, you can wear them. And by the way, the hats will be all forward. We're not gonna be wearing our hats backwards, okay? So it's all about presentation. We talked about the importance of first impressions, right? And you don't get a second chance at that, you know? And I even asked him, you know, during one of the breaks, I went up to Alex and I said, Alex, what about this? I said, am I good, or, you know, do I need to clean it up, or do you need to take it off? You know, he goes, no, you're fine. So he goes, actually, it looks good on you, you know, but, you know, you keep it groomed and everything else. So all these things are very, very critical. To be honest with you, the wrong appearance is pretty expensive. You may like your facial hair, but if it's costing you $20,000 a year, how much do you like it? You know, you think you're really that sexy? You know, honestly, you know, I mean, think about it. You know, do you think about, you know, wearing your shirt like a smock is gonna get you somewhere in life? It's not, you know. So I just want to re-emphasize that. We're gonna be looking for it in our appearance and how, you know, especially when I'm out in the job. I asked Ryan yesterday, where's your shirt? You know, he was wearing a t-shirt on the job. Well, he had a good reason for that. He used it as a mop. So
What are you gonna say to that?
So, you know, but that's the point. I'm gonna be calling you guys out in the field, you know. We will be getting t-shirts made, so when you're doing trench digging and stuff like that, I get it. It's not so much a big deal right now because it's winter and we're freezing our asses off anyway, but in the summer, it's gonna be a big deal, especially when we're attic and stuff like that. But at all times, we wanna look professional in this company. And we gotta look uniform. It's important. So anyway, so let's go. I'm gonna review some of the stuff we learned in that class. The importance of the right tools, having the right tools. We're all getting those. They're coming in today. You keep the technical talk down to a minimum. We tend to get really, really techy, and try to impress people with our words. But the simpler you can keep it, the better it is for the customer, because the customer's not going to understand. You got to break it down Barney style. It's just obvious there. The one technical name that you should be pretty familiar with is the I can't even say it because I can't even spell it, but it's that type of corrosion. Is it called formicary? Yeah, formicary corrosion. Okay. So I gotta correct the way I got that spelled. There we go.
Because I can't even spell.
Yeah, formicary corrosion.
How's it?
So it's important, some words are very, very important to be able to say. And the water treatment, what's an important one?
Chloramines?
Chloramines, yeah, that's a really important one. But you break that down Barney style, how do you do that?
Chlorine and ammonia
Right,
combined together.
right. And
creates
what do you
called
tell
chloramine.
people about that, by the way? I'm just curious.
I just tell them there's two problems in the water.
Mm-hmm,
You have the hard minerals, which attacks the plumbing, that's where you see all the green, white calcification around your faucets, you'll
Mhm.
see that.
mm-hmm,
Then you have the chlorine and the ammonia, which is bad for us and bad for the plumbing, and combined it creates chloramines,
mm-hmm,
which is a known carcinogen. Basically everything I learned,
Mhm.
which is a known carcinogen,
mm-hmm,
you gotta take care of both of those problems.
mm-hmm.
And both that, you have to take care of them differently, so that's what it comes down to. When you put in a filter, you know, you have options. You can put in conditioner, 2-in-1, you can put in a softener, plus a carbon unit. It's a long talk, cause there's a lot to talk about.
There's a lot to cover.
Yeah. there's a
Do you
lot to
ever
cover.
use the word trihalomethanes?
Nope.
No, okay.
What is that?
So trihalomethanes, so you know, and it's one of those that I'll actually go there,
Uh-huh.
because it actually gets people's attention. And what happens is those things, they off-gas. So we talked about the off-gassing of the glues, and that's what's causing the
Formicary corrosion.
formicary corrosion. It's gotta roll off your lips too, by the way, just like trihalomethanes.
Mhm.
But what happens is you've got the chlorine and ammonia, and when it comes out of the shower head, it aerosolizes. So it becomes airborne. And your lungs, you know, how do people get high? They smoke weed, right? Why? Why do they smoke it?
Inhales.
Because it's the fastest way into your system.
It goes into your system really quickly, right? It's absorbed into your body. Those chemicals from pot, THC, is absorbed in your body quickly because you smoke it, right? Same thing with cigarettes. You get a big rush when you smoke a cigarette, right? From the nicotine, you know, you get your fix, right? Because it's going into your lungs, it's being absorbed immediately into your body, that chemical, right? Same thing with the trihalomethanes. Trihalomethanes, they're the off gas from the chlorine and ammonia, and those are a carcinogen, okay? Something to understand. So they're wondering why people who never smoke get lung cancer,
Cause it's airborne.
okay?
Things that are airborne.
And-
Breathing it in no
Showers.
matter what.
Right, so, and one of the things while we're on the subject that I do, is I ask people, do you drink bottled water? And they say, oh yeah, okay. Why do you do that? Because I don't want to drink those chemicals that taste nasty, yada, yada, yada. I said, do you shower in bottled water? And they look at me like, what?
They don't
Is
even
that
know
even
they could do
possible?
that, yeah.
You know, so it creates a picture in their mind. And then I say, I just let them know that, you know, your lungs and your skin, you know, two of the biggest organs in your body, your skin is the biggest, your lungs second biggest, right? And they absorb chemicals. So everything you're doing with the bottled water, you're undoing when you take a shower. And it's especially important for your kids. I always go there, always. And then I talk about, you know, cosmetic industry, I talk about dry skin, I talk about, you know, the chloramines and how people's skin, they get skin reactions with that, and et cetera, et cetera. I've had customers where we put in Halo 5s. After the fact, they've told me like, oh my God, my skin condition cleared up. I was taking drugs, I was doing this, I was doing that. Doctors couldn't figure it out. I was having all this itchiness everywhere. Boom. I put in one of these units, it was gone. Problem solved. Crazy. And those people are your best testimony to how these things work, right? So anyway, just getting off the beaten path a little bit, but not really. So be very, very careful when you use words that are huge. You can't just use them, now you have to explain what that is, okay? You can't just throw them out there. And so it's just a process of informing the customer where formicary corrosion is a process that takes place in every home, on every coil. It's a matter of time. Right? It reacts with the copper from the lead.
Is it CH4?
I don't know. I'm not gonna go there with, you know, I'm not gonna talk about molecular structure with the customer. They don't care. You know, So, but I am gonna break it down Barney style, and only then. So, we talked a little bit about, having phone conversations. I'm just reading from my notes as I went down. So, well, I think I'll skip that one, cause it's kind of in the middle of the, okay, so front door, right? How many feet are we supposed to be back after we got
8 feet.
8 feet, right? Okay. So the difference is, you know, if it's a glass door and they see you and they know you and you were just there, you know, the day before or something, we had the same situation. William said to me, hey man, 8 feet, you know, I was like, cool. But I said, you know, yeah, they already met me yesterday, I'm back again today, and they can see me through the glass, so, you know, it's okay. But it's good that he remembered, right, you know, to step back. And we had an incident where, I think it was one of our first calls we ran afterwards, it was a estimate for hydronics, and we had stepped back 8 feet, and when she opened the door, you could see she was a young woman by herself, you know, so you could see how two guys could be kind of threatening, right?
Wow,
Yeah, so let's remember that rule. Step 8 feet back, use their last name. I did, I used her last name. Right away, she came up with her first name. She goes, just, you know, she goes, it's whatever her name was, Sarah or whatever, right? And I said, okay, Sarah. You know, and I confirmed that, you know, said her name. Just call, remember her name too, it's kind of important. And use their names, but not a lot. Don't use their names a lot, but use them occasionally, okay? When you're talking to them. So, anyway, so we talked about, we're gonna go back there a little bit now, going back to your first impression. We talked about how nasty you are, you know, after a call sometimes, right? You go on a call, you get nasty, you know, you break sweat. So baby wipes is one thing. Can anybody else remember anything else?
New shirt,
Yeah.
new shirt, new shoes,
New shirt,
everything it
yeah,
could be.
right? Extra uniform, right? Mints, make sure you're shaven. You know, those types of things. Make sure you have an extra set of uniform with you, okay? And then we talked about how we were gonna talk about money up front. And so what was the question we asked the customer? Do you guys remember?
Are you aware of the service charge?
Yeah, that's it. Debbie, are you aware of the service charge today? Today?
Mm-hmm.
Today,
Yeah, okay. So it's that one that will get you, you know, without asking or being impolite, anything else. If they say, no, you don't have to put those on your shoes,
It's company policy.
right, it's company policy. Okay? And then, how do we get to the thermostat?
Ask them where it is and then lead them,
Show me your thermostat.
and then lead them there.
Yeah, okay. So it was like, yeah, Debbie, which way is your thermostat? I want to check to see that it's communicating properly,
Communicating.
right? So that phrase, you know, it's not just, you know, I'm gonna go turn on your thermostat and see what's happening. I want to make sure it's communicating properly. You know, it's kind of a nice way of saying what the thermostat does, right? In a way that anybody in the public can understand it. It communicating with my equipment, right? Okay. So, and then you just use that phrase, can you point me in the direction of your, whether it's furnace or condenser or what have you, right? And what was the thing we were gonna do at the thermostat?
You're gonna turn on the fan.
Right.
Fan on.
You're gonna turn the fan on, right?
To eliminate.
Well, you already, what do you know when you turn the fan on?
It's communicating.
Even though it's working.
You know it's communicating,
It's
and you
getting
know
power.
what else?
It's getting power.
You got power.
Right.
You got 110, you got 24. You can't have 24 without 110. right? So you've eliminated a bunch of things already, right? So if that doesn't come on, then, you know, right? So then, Debbie, where's the indoor location of your unit? Then we talked a little bit about the telescoping ladders. I'm gonna look into that. It's on my list. So when we're checking the furnace, where do we go first?
And then you're checking the furnace,
Glue.
Coil. Exactly. Go straight to the coil.
and sniff it out.
Right?
Leak detector sniffing.
Huh?
Leak detector sniffing.
Yeah, you're going straight to the coil. That's our priority, right? So when we do a whole house plumbing inspection, Sarah, where do you go first?
Water heater right away, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going with the water heater. That's like, you know,
And the main.
Problem
going to the
central.
main,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I'm
Right
checking the
away.
pressure and stuff like that. By the way, one of my favorite things to do is, Debbie, do you know how to shut the water off in case of an emergency?
Yeah. I did that.
Do you know how few plumbers will ask that question? And I gotta tell you, most of the time you're dealing with women, and if they say no, and I, you know, hey, I want you to show everybody else in your family how to do this. I want you to come with me. We're gonna find your water shut off, because you might not know where it's at yet. I'm gonna show you how that works. And I can tell you, homeowners are really appreciative of that. Like, hey, if you ever get in a panic, you know, because when water's squirting out, you know, you just run around in circles, right? You know, because you don't know what to do. You won't do that now. Now you know exactly what to do.
A lot of people think their meters are main shut off. A lot
Yeah.
of homeowners that I know, they go,
Yeah.
oh, I have to shut off at the street. I go, no, over here.
Right.
And then like you said, they're like, what? Are you serious?
yeah.
They're amazed.
So this is really, really important stuff. And educating the homeowner empowers them, right? And, you know, and it shows your concern for them. You know, hey, when I'm not here and something goes south, you know where to go, okay? Same thing with the gas. You know, I don't distract them and run them all over the house all at once. Try to keep them focused. But while I'm there showing them the shut off, I got a pressure gauge with me. I'm intentional, right? Because you know there's a hose bib there. And we're gonna check your pressure today, Debbie, because, you know, there's three things that'll destroy your plumbing, right? The chemicals in the water, neglect, and pressure, right? Age, four things, right? So, and you let her know the pressure's probably one of the most important things, okay? So check the full coil first, and then how many times do we check for leaks? 3 times, right? Okay. So we're gonna go in there, we're gonna.
If you can, the third time you have them do it.
What's that?
If you can, you have them do it as well.
Yes, you're not dragging them into the attic unless you, I had one lady come out of the house with me once. It was crazy, I couldn't believe it.
Was I there?
was-
That lady, right?
Yeah,
She was all into that job.
she was, man, like,
She was crawling, she was like right behind me, I'm like, hey, you see this drain line over here? Pretty corroded?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that wound up blowing up in our face.
yeah.
That's when we had to fire somebody. But, yeah. Anyway, yeah, sometimes they'll do that, you know, and I don't like it. I don't, for liability reasons, I don't want a customer climbing my ladder, right? You know, because if they fall off, guess what? I'm getting sued. More than likely, the homeowner's insurance is gonna come after me. Hey, that wasn't your ladder, it was their ladder. It's their fault, you know, that's how it works, unfortunately. But, you know, I discourage people from climbing into attics, you know. Just let them know, hey, I'm sorry, it's our company policy. I'll take video, I'll take picture. You know, it's dangerous up here, you know. That guy that came in yesterday, did you see that tall Asian dude? His name was Oscar. I don't know if any of you guys saw him.
I saw
Yeah,
him
he
at
damn near
home.
killed himself on the first day.
Yeah,
First day.
yeah.
He almost went 2 stories.
Through a ceiling.
Yeah. And it was gonna land on a granite counter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not joking.
I
And
remember
railing,
him,
yeah. Yeah, over the stairs, yeah.
Yeah.
He would have been,
He would have been gone.
if
Jesse caught him.
if he survived, the fall, he would have been
He was
disabled
vegetable.
permanently,
Easy.
for sure,
Easily.
for sure.
So how
Jesse
did
caught
he
him?
survive?
What
Yeah, he was in an attic.
Fell to the roof.
he didn't look down to step on the beam. Because they were going in reverse. So instead of looking, he figured he knew where the beam was. He missed it
He's a big
and
boy,
just went
too.
straight. Started going straight through. Apparently, Jesse noticed that he was moving at way too steady a pace, and he grabbed him by the arm. And went no, and he pulled him back, and he was about down to his knee through the ceiling.
Oh, Jesse like saved his
It's a
life.
superhero.
Yeah, and we ended up putting a return there.
Yeah.
Heroes worth
And it looks like hell.
It looks horrible.
Yeah,
Somewhere.
you
It's like-
can't, you need scaffolding,
so
you need, this is
pissed
how
about
high up it is, you need scaffolding to get up there,
Yeah.
to patch that ceiling, that's where it's at.
Oh, man.
Oh, that's.
I have a
Oh, so
customer,
he would have.
It's
raised
dead
him
center
or
of
something.
the basically like a cathedral ceiling, but it's basically 30 feet up, and just directly below is a granite countertop, right next to the stairwell.
That's how easy it is. to
I
get
have
down
a
there.
customer, he's actually a friend of mine, we go to church together. And I knew him before, I knew him as a customer after I became friends with him, basically. But maybe some of you guys have been to his house, and nice house in Kodu, he's got 3 systems, and beautiful home, and he's an architect, not an architect, he's some kind of, I don't know, engineer or something like that. Anyway, he's one of those guys that would do his own thing in the attic and was servicing his units, and he went through. He fell 2 stories.
Oh my God.
Yes,
You
landed
can't do
on
that.
his feet. Yeah, shattered one of his legs.
Yeah.
And he, right now, to this day, like, I'll be seeing him tonight in our Bible study, he takes his shoe off every time he sits down because of the pressure on his legs. He's probably my age, and this just happened like a few years ago. So his wife was like, "You're not going to the attic anymore." That's why he had to hire us, because he was doing all this shit himself. He's one of those guys that just, he's just all about that, and he paid the price. I mean,
How did he fall through? the
he just
hit
stepped
drywall?
right through. Poof.
Fuck.
Just, he said, Kevin, he goes,
He wasn't
I was
sure.
just through there. I was on my way down. I saw it, and next thing I know, I'm just laid out. And it's, can you imagine? Like, and he didn't even. He fell literally straight on his feet, like
Oh, he
standing
landed on
up,
his
just
feet.
bam, and just straight down. Yeah, that's painful. That's real painful. He's lucky he's not a big guy. He's tall, but he's real thin. So because that weight, you imagine even
Oh, yeah.
more weight on your leg. It's just yeah. I just
Sounds
think
like
about that.
stress,
And I'm
right?
like, dude, freaks me out every time he takes his shoes off. I'm just like, damn, because he wears a brace now. So he has to. And he's gonna live with that pain the rest of his life, so. Extremely, like, do not let the customer in the attic. I get nervous with you guys in the attic, okay?
With the apprentices
Because
and-
anything can happen at any minute in the attic, and and that's why you gotta have your wits about you, you gotta have the lights on, you gotta have this, you gotta have that. You gotta be prepared. And when you're sweating and your hands are, you're pouring sweat down your face, you can't see, stuff's gonna happen, and stuff's gonna happen real fast. So do not let the customer in the attic. Just tell them we cannot have you over here. So anyway, you shouldn't have that problem too many times, but you never know. So when you call for me, what do you say?
Clear.
They're clear.
Yeah, Kevin, are you clear, right? So when we call for each other, we know what that means, right? That's a signal to me that this is a sales call, you're gonna be needing me out there, right? And so, that's what I need to know, and that's how we're gonna communicate. So, we talked about videoing in the attic because, what?
Well, it's easier to prove for the customers, so they can feel like they're there.
So what are we gonna videotape?
We're video
What
yourself
about that
walking
they have
out.
in the attic?
Huh?
Leak detection.
I didn't hear you.
Part of attic, so customer can see it's.
Yeah, so the attic access, so we can show like through the attic access. And then we're slowly gonna pan from the attic access, they could see their furniture or something through that access typically that identifies this as their attic. And then we're gonna slowly pan over, so it's not, whoosh, like what happened kind of thing. So this is evidence, that's all it is evidence for the customer, because you're not gonna be going with the customer into the attic, period, okay? So you wanna make, and it's, and I know this is true, by the way, when we had, I've heard of this happening, and probably some of you know about this in drain companies, where these guys, they camera sewer lines, and they're showing a video of somebody else's line. So, yeah,
Oh, that's messed up.
All
Yeah.
day, dude.
yeah. And this is your sewer, and this is your problem,
Yeah.
right? And they push when the camera's pushing, and they stop when the camera stops. It's like they practice this video, right?
Same video you use every time.
Yeah,
And they use it every time.
collapse.
And they sell linings and shit like that. Hey, this is your problem, and we're here to fix this for you. Yeah.
But
So,
Issues for
so this
30
is
years.
this is why he wanted to personalize that video, by the way. And when he said that, I was thinking in the back of my head, yeah, because it's a scam. There's scammers out there, dude. There's so many scammers out there. It's crazy. So
It's a business.
it's a business, yeah.
Scam.
It is. It is a business. You know. I mean, it's, so, and it's just this is one of these are one of the things you really need to overcome. Is that and that's the problem with our industry. Is that's why first appearances are so impressions are so important. Is that hey, these people are in they're fearful. Period. They're fearful of basically anything and everything, because you've heard all the stories of contractors, and it's all true. It's all true, okay? So, and then, view the attic, emergency drain pan, make sure you got a flashlight. And then, I got my notes here, we don't guess at anything at Kalka Heating and Air because of the changes in government regulations. We have to have a field supervisor to confirm my findings. Okay, that's a phrase you guys all want to memorize. All right, and I can send you, if you guys like, I can send you a copy of my notes. They may or may not make sense to you because they're scribbled as I was hearing things. So then. This is a Freon leak detector. Pick the worst looking spot that's not leaking. And then that's in my notes. So immediately take the customer to, because we know in the coils there's some nasty ass areas on that coil. Usually the front where all the rust is coming down. You start there typically and you work your way around to where the leak is, and that and that's in the video as well as in front of the customer if it's a downstairs in a closet or in a garage, right? And then when you involve the customer, you want to have them say start here, and then work your way back, so they have a reference point. You don't want them starting over here. Because that could mess up the thing. Okay, I don't have any hope of saving that coil. I hope we got there in time and there's no damage to that compressor. Okay, so that's another one where, so what happens when a air conditioning system is low on refrigerant?
Sleeping.
It overheats.
the compressor.
Overheats, right? So we have that 1 meter that's green, red, yellow,
And it
right?
checks to see the strength of the insulation around the wire.
So that's what you're gonna do once you see the leak in the coil. I hope I've gotten here in time, and I hope it hasn't damaged the compressor, okay? So when you go out there, the compressor, it's gonna be one of the three, right? It's gonna be either green, red, or yellow, right? And that's gonna say basically where we're at. If it's red, what do we do?
Show it to them and replace the system.
Okay, Kevin, are you clear? Right? You're not selling
He's
anything.
already ripping
I
out the
figured
system.
you were already
Sounds like
there.
he's
I was
already
thinking
ripping
you
it
were
out.
already there.
Well, you might be, I might be.
At
but-
which point I talked to you.
But the presentation and the process is really important, and I'll confirm this with Alex. I got his number, and I'll be calling him and making sure we're role-playing this properly. In fact, they've got a class coming up in March that I might go there to Alabama Go lift some weights with that dude.
Yeah, he's,
Four?
yeah,
450
he's
plus?
got Popeye arms.
Yeah.
Fun.
So anyway, yeah, but that process is really, really important. Because, and then we talked about then, you know, we get the tech out there, we look at the coil, and then I say to him, hey, have you checked to see, because I confirm what I already know he's done, have you, in front of the homeowner, have you checked to see if that compressor's gotten damaged from this, right? So I'm just confirming that, you know, they are related, this is not made up stuff, okay? We know this for a fact. The compressor runs hot, you know, it's gonna damage the windings, period. And they get super hot. I mean, I've literally gotten up to compressors where, and you've seen this on pumps, where they get so hot,
Burning.
right? Guess what happened to the windings on that pump?
Burn out.
Yeah, the insulation is bad on those windings. There's been, you could probably use that same tool on the windings of a pump. Windings are windings, right? So that tool could be used on the windings of a pump, help you sell some pumps. Anything that has
Are you
windings.
guys buying the tool? Or-
Yeah, we got 4 sets. We can order more. There's the sniffer, there's the winding sensor, and then there's the powder puffer thing that we shoot into the heat exchanger.
Oh.
So, and just so you know, I had, there was a customer, William was with me yesterday, and I talk kind of loud anyway, but I was intentionally talking loud on this call because I was back and forth with tech support and with a few other people, and I was talking to William about things, and she was sitting around the corner in an armchair listening to every single word. Okay, and they look like they're reading and stuff. They're listening to you, man.
You're like, yeah, this
You
is
might
bad.
think, you might, you know, because you always want the customer in front of you, and you know, but and the cool thing about that is she doesn't know that I know that she's listening to me. But then when I asked her, I said, you know, because she asked me, so what do you think? This was like an hour or two after I'd been there and on the phone with tech support and everything else.
Listening to everything,
She
yeah.
was listening to every word. And I said, you know, I'm very, very concerned about your furnace right now. We installed this product 8 years ago, okay? And to the touch, I cannot touch this furnace, it's so hot, in one spot. That's not right, okay? That's what I told her. She goes, yeah. She goes, I overheard you talking about that. And I go, hell no, you were
You
listening.
said that all right?
Right? She was listening the whole time, and that was good because she was paying attention to what I had to say. So a lot of times when I'm talking to my tech, I'm explaining things to my tech, but I'm really explaining them to the customer.
Yeah, that's so
Right?
good,
And
yeah.
it's a really good form of communication because I'm there, and I oftentimes tell people that, hey, I'm the owner. I got William here with me today. I'm training him. Okay? So I'm not training him how to steal, I'm training him how to learn. You know, I'm training him stuff, you know, so that the guard, and when I'm talking to William, it's like gospel truth coming out, right? And it is anyway, but they believe it more because I'm training him, right? So it's kind of a thing that I use, that I've learned to use in the field, and it worked really, really well yesterday. And she said something to the effect, it sounds pretty serious. I go, yeah, it is, we might have to replace that furnace. I said, the good news is the furnace is under warranty. So it might be just the heat exchanger, it might be the whole furnace, I don't know. But we also got a board out on the furnace, which is caused by the heat because the board's right by where the hottest part of the furnace. And I literally can't put my hand on top of the furnace, can't keep it there, it's that hot. There was a 35 degree difference between one side of the furnace and the other as it's running. Yeah, and the same temperature that we get in the furnace, we get outside the furnace, touching the furnace, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's like, it's bad.
Yeah.
Right? So, but I was saying all this stuff on the phone multiple times to tech support and to him. And then we were taking temperatures back and forth, everything was out loud. What did you say that was? You know, it's how many degrees? You know, stuff like that, so. All right. So I hope we got here in time and there's no damage to the compressor. Let me know exactly what you found. So I'm sending that guy out on a mission, right? So now I'm alone with the customer. I'm gonna be talking about formicaric corrosion. And he's gonna be out there on a mission. Okay. So then we're gonna eventually get back out there. Then I have notes here, blame the government on the size of the duct, etc. So that's just, again, that was just a note to me, that any opportunity you have to blame the government, blame the government. No, it works. So we want to make the compressor to coil relationship, you know. How does that coil up here affect my outdoor unit, right? We get asked these questions all the time, like, wait, it's way the hell over there, and this is way the hell over there. Like, how can that affect this, right? It makes sense, right, from the customer's perspective. And we talk about how they interconnect. There's two tubes that connect the two, and the refrigerant passes from here to there. It's like one big circle. And the pressure here is the pressure there. The pressure here, the loss of refrigerant here affects the compressor there. And you break it down Barney style, right? Without getting too techie. There's a saying in our field, what is it, about being too techie?
KISS, keep it simple, stupid.
Well, keep it simple, stupid,
Too
yeah.
techie, no checky.
Too techie, no checky, yeah, yeah.
I haven't heard
Yeah,
that one
funny,
before.
huh?
Yeah, yeah, that's the one Thomas used to say all the time.
Yeah.
Too techie, no checky.
Yeah.
Okay, and just break it down. Sometimes you're gonna have to use those technical words. We're late. So I didn't even get halfway through. But anyway, we're gonna keep on doing that. If you have an opportunity, start role playing, and I will email a copy of these notes to you guys today.
Awesome.
All right? Anything anybody need to go over? No? Okay.
Sorry.
Dosing,
Oh,
the water heaters,
yeah,
plural.
I need to talk to